Okay, we're going to try this again, folks, this time with audio. And so for them that don't get to see the disaster that was, a very quick recap of what we're talking about in this week's show. We're going to be looking at why is Till coming to London and not London coming to Till. We're going to look at what's going to happen over Christmas and why perhaps it shouldn't. And then, of course, we are going to go through several other bits and bobs, like a new asset pack, which comes with the riddle specifically for you to try and solve during the show. And if you do solve it, you'll get 50 experience points that you can use at your next role-playing game. And you just tell the DM that you owned it fair and square. And you can take it from me. They must accept. Anyway, let's get Till in, and hopefully everything continues to work as expected. Hello, Till.
Hello. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello, everyone. Well, I quickly rebooted my router. We hope that this was a hiccup in the beginning, and now we're back. And again, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, good. Right, so that means one more piece of music, if you please. And 3, 2.
Battle Map News again.
Right. Okay, so no big surprise. Till, why are you coming to London?
Yes, so it's my third time coming to Dragonmeet. I love Dragonmeet. It's a lot of fun to be there. It was actually the time that I first met you in person. I also met Dimi and Janet in person. It's also where I met Keora in person. So it has quite a big value to me to go to Dragonmeet. We will be there sharing a booth with you. So Geeks Table and DGNFOG will be sharing a booth at Dragonmeet. We will be not only talking about the battle map stuff, the Deus stuff, but also about the book that you and I are writing. And we're running a workshop on how to create epic locations. That's and right. we're doing a lot of giveaways. So we've brought a big backpack of codes of codes that we can hand out for those of you who are coming to our booth and say hi. They can grab where is it? Point. This beautiful badge that you can see on top. Yes, there you go. Yeah, and apart from that, Guy, you and I will be spending every free minute that we have to work on the book and figure out other stuff that we want to do. So yep. I'm super excited. Tomorrow is my packing day. On Thursday, I will be flying over. And yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, looking at that book and yeah, I think just spending time with anyone and everyone who's in the role-playing community in London. It's a great event. Starts at 9 a.m. on Saturday in Hammersmith, if you are familiar with London.
Yes. Okay. We're at booth 25, I believe. So second floor, center, booth number 25.
You can't miss us. Trust me.
Yeah.
Now, Dragonmeet happens in December. There is also something else happening in December that's important for everyone to pay attention to. It killed me last year, and it's going to do the same again this year. What am I talking about, Till?
You're probably talking, I hope you're talking about Winter Wonderland. Our Advent calendar is back. And as you can see, we have asked the toy maker to put some fancy clockwork toys into his bag of goodies. So there is going to be, starting on December the 1st, as every Advent calendar starts, there's going to be a door each day. You can open it, and for those of you who open it, you get an asset out of that door. 24 in total, all themed around the toy maker's workshop, with weird, wonky, crazy little things that you might find in a fantasy-related, clockwork-oriented toy maker's workshop. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I kind of think back to the map battle madness that you had with Lord God, and you had to put in the creepy child's playroom or something along those lines.
Yeah. We had to do toys. I remember.
That's right. That's right. Okay, now speaking of that, there's a new asset pack that's coming out
Yeah,
as
just
well.
quickly, sorry, before
But
we talk about the new asset pack,
yes.
if you've missed last year's
Oh
Winter
yes.
Wonderland,
Mm.
don't worry about it. Starting on December the 1st, the 24 assets from last year will become part of our content subscription and we will release them. So if you've missed last year, I think it was Snow and Ice, it was called. So if you missed that pack and you didn't claim all the assets last year, don't worry. Now they will be released as well.
Fantastic. I think I missed 2. Because there were some days that just merged into each other. It's like, I missed my thing. That's why it killed me. Anyway, looking forward to this year. Right, so there's a riddle here for you. The new asset pack is roll on, stop, roll on. What do you think the new asset pack could possibly be with that as your riddle? Roll on, stop, roll on. Now, whilst you ponder that one, and like I said, this will get you 50 experience points to use at your next role-playing event, however you so may choose. Let's talk about how people get to submit for asset packs. Because remember, there used to be that whole voting system.
Yes, and it's still there. We have a what's the link? It's when you go to our Dungeon Fog website, you will find the link. I think it's suggestion. So dungeonfog.com/suggestions, and there you can suggest assets that you find are missing in our collection. You can give us ideas. You can talk about existing asset packs and say, look, I love the asset pack, but there should be something else in there, and you probably have missed it. So let us know about those things. Also, traditionally, we are trying to do community packs every once in a while, where we just collect a bunch of suggestions and bundle them up together into community packs, where we say, okay, those assets don't fit in a specific topic, so we just take them and hand them out as a community request pack. So go to dungeonfog.com/suggestions and leave us a note there. You can also suggest things about tools, features, or it's not particularly about bugs. For that, you write to support@dungeonfog.com and write us a support ticket. But if you have an idea and you feel like we should definitely listen to your idea, put it there. That's where we collect those things.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. And then I had another question. Oh, yes. There was once talk of redoing the original fantasy props.
Yes.
Is that still something that could be happening?
No, that is a work in progress. But since Tony is also a very talented artboard artist and is working for movies and theaters, he's not a full-time artist. So he has to do monthly prop packs for us and here and there an event prop pack. So what I said to him was like, distribute your time over whatever time you have to dedicate to it and rework the fantasy assets. And that is being done. So that is work in progress. I don't think that he is complete yet. So there's no ETA on when that is going to be released, but chances are good that it's somewhere next year when he's finally finished with all those. I think it was 200.
It was probably a lot originally.
470 something, I believe. It was.
Well, I think some of them you could actually drop, to be honest with you. I'm thinking sort of the candle, because there's been a candle
pack. Yeah, I know.
Pack on its own.
Yes.
So, but
well, the thing is, if we drop them, the system would remove them from the map. So for every prop because if a prop has been placed on any of those, I don't know what we are currently at. I think 1.2 million maps that are in the system.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. If the candle has been placed once there, we need to replace the asset. Otherwise, it would be removed. If we drop the asset, it would be removed. However, there is another thing in the making. I'm not sure. Where's the script? Sorry, we might be talking about that later, but there is something in the making at the moment that will help you to organize and restructure your assets, or our assets, the assets that we put into the content subscription, much more effectively, which is the rework of the asset manager. And with that, you basically get the free reign on how you structure your assets in your own packs. And our packs are just kind of releases that come out, but then you, like a shopping basket, you pick and pull from wherever you like, put them together in your own packs.
Off we go. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, well, we had one volunteer as to what my riddle was. Roll on, stop, roll on. And that was deodorant, which I think is a good suggestion. But yes.
And the right answer. Congratulations. We have done a pack on deodorants. 30 new deodorant assets.
And they're
spray
all
on,
drawn from
roll
above,
on.
so
Yeah,
it's little discs, little circles of red, blue, and green. But you'll know what the brand are. No, in actual fact, it is. Well, what is it, Till?
Well, it's not deodorants. I'm shocked. It's tents and wagons is what we call the new pack. So it's a ton of new wagon styles, from a prison wagon to a fortified kind of tax collector's wagon, the classical tarp wagons, gypsy or circus wagons, and a lot of kind of transport carriage stuff, along with new tents and tarps that you can use to combine and decorate. I think this is an amazing pack, either to create a nice little wagon fort or campsite, but also if you just use the tents and probably one of those wagons, I think it's quite nice to create little tent towns in caves, for example, if goblins or kobolds are retreating into a cave and they're just using all those canopies and tents to stack them together to create a little kind of tent town. So yeah, I had a lot of fun playing with this.
Can I say a bad joke?
Please.
Why is it impossible for you to run when you are in a camping ground or in a tented community? It's impossible for you to run.
It's impossible for me to run.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Because you can never run past tents.
Oh no.
You can only ran.
You can only ram. Yeah. Thank you, Dan.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Lowering the IQ of the show as best I can, bringing it all the way down. Till, there were some new paths you mentioned as well. I think that's really cool. We can see one of them in the bottom corner, just here, right?
Yeah, there are two new paths in there. The one is the how's it called? The awning, the tarp.
Yes.
That is on the floor. So you can create like a carpet. So you have those tarps that you can kind of layer and path as you like. And also there's one that is on a construction that you can use as a canopy.
Lovely.
And they look quite nice. I had a lot of fun playing with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And when do those drop?
They have dropped already. I think they are. So I think I released them yesterday evening, but there hasn't been any announcement yet. So here's the official announcement. They're out now, and you can already find them in the battle map editor. Just search for tents and wagons.
Okay, sorry, I'm still. I like that joke. I'm sorry. Anyway, someone who's definitely, probably most likely, with all doubt, got a better sense of humor than I do as our community member for this month. So, Till, let's do some more community music.
Sure.
Here we go.
Bravo! Bravo! Bravo!
Oh, wrong one. There we go. Right. So I don't know what happened there. No one saw anything. You saw nothing. Yes. So this month's community member is drumroll.
Yeah, you can pronounce him or her or them.
Lazy Kropotkin.
Yeah,
or Lizzie Kropotkin.
Lizzie or Lazy Kropotkin.
Yes, yes. The same problem that you have with hieroglyphics, as a matter of fact, is that they contain no vowels. So we don't know exactly how the words were pronounced. So LZY, Lazy, Lizzie, who knows? Maybe the user. Anyway, why this particular individual? Why were they chosen? Apart from having a great little bio which says, though I have a love of high fantasy, I also enjoy sci-fi and modern settings. Speaks to my kind of gaming. It really does. It speaks to who doesn't love it? Yeah. Do you like sci-fi?
Honestly, I love sci-fi. Looking at my collection of settings and books, I think I have more sci-fi settings than books. I've never played.
Yeah.
Never played sci-fi before. I mean, I know I've been playing sci-fi in your games, but
yes.
Me running a game, mainly because I don't have sci-fi minis, I'm like, nah, well, then we stay sci-fi fantasy.
Oh dear. All right, so let's talk about Lizzie Kropotkin's maps. What particularly drew you to that?
Well, as all our community maps, we collect submissions. So not in terms of someone is submitting to us, but whenever you publish a map, we see it. Because we keep an eye, like the whole team keeps an eye on the community hub and watches what maps are being published there. And then we just have a little internal team voting on who do we think makes amazing maps. And Lizzie Kropotkin got a lot of votes internally. And we were like, yeah, because those are really good maps if you look at them. I think I brought 2 samples.
Yeah, you do. You got 2 big close-ups here.
Which is an amazing way to do this perspective look down into this ravine. It feels I still haven't really figured out what was the trick, but using the waves, like this is a wave texture. I recognize
texture,
it.
It's called, yeah.
Yeah, it's the river texture at the bottom, and a combination of, I would say, paths and props, with probably an additional brush to create that kind of sense of depth.
Dark.
Works brilliantly. And the second one, by the way, the other one, wrong finger. That one here, also is a lot of fun because it is actually from the Snow and Ice pack of Winter Wonderland Asset pack last year. It's this semi-transparent ice put on top of a very cleverly combined pack of tentacles mouths from I believe from the horror pack, and probably some bounty hunter stuff in there as well.
Could be, yeah, looking at that, yeah.
And
but also a nice sense of depth too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you just picture that your GM brings up this map, he probably describes that you're walking on the cracking surface of ice, and as you look down, you can see the shape of a creature being trapped beneath. And here, guys, is the map. And then you can kind of, I can really see how my players would be freaking out if their minis would be standing on top of that, and I would reveal the monstrosity beneath it. So I think this is also quite an amazing map. And if I remember correctly, it's like about 27 maps being published in the community hub page. So that user has a lot of cool maps out there. I just picked my 2 favorites here. So I would highly recommend that you go to our community hub page and follow that specific user, because I can see I'm pretty sure there will be a lot more of those cool maps coming.
I think so. I think so. I was looking at that ice map, and I use the map viewer of Dungeon Fog, and I would make that slate of ice on top. I'm not sure what prop it is. Is it the ice?
The ice itself might
cap. It looks like some kind of prop, a circular like pond or something that they've put in at about 10% opacity.
It might be a brush, because we have an ice brush.
Oh, it could be a circular brush. Yeah. Either way, whatever it is, I would set the opacity to 100% and let my players move their tokens on top of it.
Wait
and
until
then
they are in place.
Slide it down and watch as they run in fear. Absolutely. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of this month's little chat about what's happening in Dungeon Fog Battle Map Editor. Now, there is a lot more stuff going on in the background, but we're also coming to December. And December is traditionally a time of holidays and going away and festivities and all that kind of wonderful thing. So there is no show of behind the scenes in December. But there will be a big bumper show in January. We will reveal all the things, because there are some cool things coming up, right?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up. So looking at, sorry, I'm kind of wandering off screen here, and I don't really know why.
You went the wrong way. I can drag you across.
No, it's fine. I'm back here. Look, I came back.
The joy of wheels.
The joy of wheels, right. So in terms of what's going on for the Battle Map Editor, there is going to be a patch coming out, I think, this Thursday for the Battle Map Editor. It's mainly hot fixing a few of the issues that you have reported, doing some improvements. The new asset picker or the new asset search got a lot of feedback, and we have implemented whatever you threw at us in terms of improvement to make it work even better. And there might be a few more of those micro patches coming in the near future. Andy, however, has switched over to start working on the asset manager. Now, there is already an asset manager in the current system, but to be honest, it is quite outdated. It's quite painful to use, and we know that. So we were trying to kind of catch two flies with one pair of chopsticks. I think
we get where you're going.
Yeah. So we're testing a new UI engine for the user interface, and for version 6. And that is quite a powerful tool, but we need to learn our ways around this tool. So Andy proposed that we could use it to create the new asset manager, and by this get the hang of how to actually get full control over Flutter. That's how the system is called. So that is Andy and Ferret have already started working on that. I have seen the first wireframes from Bodhi. The concept phase is more or less over. So this is happening, which means that in January, hopefully, when we have our mapping it out at the end of January, I might be actually able to show some of that stuff and the progress that has been put into developing the new asset manager.
Fantastic. And then I think there was one question that Damien, the DM, asked, but I think it will be answered in January. So we'll hold it until January. So
okay.
Confuse things. Deos is up next. So
Deos is up next.
Stick with us as we head on over into Deos. Okay.
I forgot to make music. Well, sorry.
It's okay. I forgot to prompt you. I'm sorry. We're all sorry. Just not running past tense. Okay. Now, I will drop the joke eventually. Deos. We've got our usual roadmap unpack. There's some patch announcements.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some updates to assets and getting PNGs. So, yeah. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Again, just a reminder, if you've just joined us, use the word question in front of your question in caps so that I can see it nice and clear in the chat. And then I will try and ask that of Till straight away. So, Till, let's talk about the news. Let's talk about the roadmap. Should we start there?
Yes, please. Let's go. Let's bring in the roadmap.
There's the roadmap. Okay. Unpack it for us.
Well, so I think it was quite an exciting month because we have ticked off so many things over the past couple of weeks. When you look at the roadmap, which you actually also find in the account manager. So if you log in at deus.dungeonfog.com and you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there you can find the whole roadmap in all its beauty and all its details. When you look at the roadmap, you can see that we are almost ready to call our world map editor version 1 being finished. I know, again, keep in mind biomes. So the concept behind the way that we approach this is we said we wanted to finish world map editing to a degree where you can create world maps with it and all the tools are there before we switch over creating city maps and then revisit world maps in summer next year to just fine-tune and add more tools. Some of them are actually codependent, so it makes sense for us to work on city map tools for some time before we go back to world map making. So from our point of view, the tool set is now complete. Again, that doesn't mean that biomes have been killed. Nope, that just means that biomes are not part of that iteration. They will come once the city map maker is in a good state. And we've ticked off a lot of things that are that have been sitting on our desk for so long. So we've done the installer. We've done the rivers tool. We've done the roads tool. We have the tectonic system, plus we fine-tuned a lot of stuff on the tectonic system. We are, and I believe it is happening either this week or next week, we have the M1 version for the Apple finished. We have installers for Windows, Mac, Linux, and then for Mac it's going to be the M1 version and the Intel version. No, sorry, that's the M1. I'm no Mac man, so I don't know. But I've been told that both versions are available. There are so many. Like I think if you go to the next slide, let's stick on that slide for a second.
Yeah.
What it means is for the next couple of weeks and probably months, we will be just collecting crash reports and bug reports to fix days where we get reports on broken things of the existing tools. So the world map editor is now being, and we've seen a lot of progress there with the past couple of patches, is just what we do is we kind of stabilize and performance optimize what is out there. And that means that there will be hotfixes, there will be patches in regards to the world map editor, but they will purely focus on fixing things that are broken or not working as smoothly as we would like them to be, while we are spending the majority of our development time on the city map maker. And to keep you kind of in the loop and entertained, we're also handing out with every month, we're handing out another asset pack that Keora is currently working on finishing them. He has finished a lot of them, not all of them. So while he's finishing his asset packs, we're handing them out on a monthly basis, along with hotfixes that just improve stability and performance of the world map editing. And while that is happening, we are working on the city map maker. And now you can go on to the next slide, because I think...
Well, before we go on to the next slide, I have a few questions.
Yes, of course, please.
All right. So when we look at this, there is still a little stretch to get finished.
For
on the maps for this year before
yes,
we finish version 1 of world
yes.
maps. Are you guys confident that's going to happen in December?
Um, no, but the answer is not no because I'm not confident that we're going to finish it in December. I think the problem is purely we're still getting with more and more users testing, we're getting different reports from different systems. This last stretch is about stability and performance, and I think it felt a bit wrong to put us into version 1 is complete while we're still patching and hot fixing crash reports. Especially, we know that Linux is a bit fragile at the moment. So I would say we're about 2 or 3 patches away from making it really stable in its current form. But there will be constantly coming in more reports that we will just have to address. So at some point, we will just say, okay, for the majority of users, it's stable enough that we can hop over this bullet point up there, this little kind of milestone.
Yeah.
And we say, okay, version 1 is stable enough. So now we are in the stretch going towards the city map maker. But it would be wrong to say that we have a completely hotfix free stable version by the end of December. I think that will take longer depending on the reports that we get.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Then I see in Q1 of 23 that there is a technical prototype of the city map maker.
Yes.
Are we going to get access to that technical prototype?
I don't think so, because the difference between the technical prototype and a prototype that is implemented into Deis is that the technical prototype is completely outside of the Deis user interface. This is really this is probably all you can do is you can kind of render predefined shapes and see how the buildings kind of distribute inside this district, or you can render predefined roads and see how they perform and how they look. So this is kind of concept proving that our ideas work before we take the technical prototype and put it into the software so that you can draw and manipulate those points. And there is a step between that that we will show on stream, of course. We will look at those things, but it is, from a developer standpoint, making those things editable is a lot of work. Whereas if you have a predefined shape and you just always render the same shape, but look at how it distributes roads and cities inside, or buildings inside of that, makes it easier for us to prove whether our concept is working, but it doesn't make it an editable city map maker. So we want to have those prototype concepts done in Q1 so that we can work. And ideally, I mean, if everything goes perfectly fine, we might be even working on the user interface and the editability in Q1. But worse for wear, that is what we have set as our goal for Q2 next year.
Okay, makes sense. Makes absolute sense. Then, no, we can go on to the next slide, because the next slide talks about the latest patch or series of little patches and hotfixes, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So, what does this wall mean?
So from first of all, if you don't know where to find our patch notes, you can look at DGNFOG.com/changelog. This is where you find all those patch notes. And you can read all of them in detail. I'm just super proud of how much effort the team has put into handing out features, patches, hotfixes in the past couple of weeks. Because from 0.5.0, where we introduced the tectonics, we are now in the third patch, in, I think it's 3 weeks, 3 quite quite massive feature updates and improvements and hot fixes, so bug fixes, and that is quite stunning. I'm very happy with where we are. Again, it's going from you download a zip file where an exe sits in there, or a DMG file sits in there. You now have the proper installers, and hopefully with the patch that is rolling out tonight or tomorrow, 0.5.2, we have also re-established our self-updater, because I think we're going to talk about the self-updater in a minute, but that one played quite some tricks with us.
Well, let's talk about that, as a matter of fact. So what happened? Because folks, let me tell you, when you start a meeting with Till, which is meant to be a, hey, how are things going? And he's doing this, going, I don't want to talk about it. You know it's bad. So what happened with this auto updater?
Okay. So sometimes, even when you have the most skilled developers in the world, super programmers who know everything, the thing that you fear most is when they all look at you with that blank face and they're like, I have no idea what just happened. And that happened to us. We have, the way that our CI pipeline works is that when we release something, so we're building it with GitHub, and we collect all the commits on GitHub, and then we bake them into review and bake them into the latest build. And when we say, okay, this is latest release, GitHub kind of pushes that to our server that then distributes it to the website and the self-updater. And that has been working for 2 years now without any problems. And I think it was Friday 2 weeks ago, we pushed the button and everything worked fine. And we were like, yeah, done, let's go to bed. We made it. And then we were just checking on the website whether the release actually got to the download button, and it didn't. Somewhere in between, it just didn't arrive. And we were completely without a clue why. We've been checking the update scripts. We've been checking our CI pipeline. We've been, like, it was Friday evening. I've been calling up everyone. We had a Friday night, when we were all sitting and staring blankly at our screens, and we're like, magic, it has stopped working. But unfortunately, you can't just say, well, bad luck, magic, it stopped working. Well, fuck it, let's go to bed now. So we had to fix it. And it took us probably the whole weekend to figure out that somewhere in the CI pipeline, a library that we're using deprecated one command line that we've been using without telling us, without letting us know. So it was such a pain to find that problem. And that meant that our CI pipeline was broken. And we completely had to rebuild that in the past week. We had to go back, look at our CI pipeline, say, okay, how can we repair it? Or should we restructure it? What do we need to do? And we've now finally managed to do this. We're in the process of testing the last deploys at the moment, and hopefully we will see that it works tonight. But it also meant that we had to change the internal APIs that we're calling in the software. So for you, this means once version 0.5.2 hits the Deis account manager, you need to download it. You can run the install script over the existing Deis. Nothing happens. It's the Windows installer or the Mac installer says, do you want to reinstall? And you say, yes, please reinstall. And it will just update. But this 0.5.2 will include the new API calls, so that finally, after that, our self-updater is back working. So that was a very long story for a very short, well, something broke, we need to fix it, download the new version. But it was, I can tell you, there are days when I was like, I should have become a farmer. I should just grow potatoes. That would be so much easier.
Oh, let me tell you, as a son of a farmer, it certainly isn't.
No. I know.
But
I would
yes,
hate it
yes.
probably. But
So I had to laugh halfway through your story when you were talking about blank faces making a good programmer. Lord God says, I must be a great programmer. I make that blank face all the time. Yes, definitely something to look out for that. Now, before we move away onto our next topic, I'm just looking at the script here. So now, once that is done, once 0.5.2 is out and we've downloaded and all that sort of thing, are we getting new assets?
yes, 0.5.2 includes new assets. It actually includes two separate asset packs. The one that is part of our monthly release now, which is high fantasy assets. And the other one is because of the high demand from users, switching to the new assets from Keora meant that some assets were shifted into other packs. And unfortunately, that meant that Volcanoes got shifted out of the existing base fantasy pack. And we've heard you, a lot of you said, no, give us back Volcanoes. So we have included the old Volcanoes into the pack, which means that there will be old Volcanoes part of the base pack. And then once we have the Volcano pack ready from Keora to be released, the new Volcanoes will just come on top of that.
Fantastic. So here's just a reminder of those packs. So
exactly. So this is the high fantasy pack. And as you can see, it is all about the higher spheres of magic. I would even say it's kind of elven inspired, with a lot of spiraling structures,
floating islands,
space whales, crystals, some kind of orbs or protective spheres, force fields, you could say, and airships. So I think this is quite interesting to flavor out your maps. Also, there's a little backstory why we're releasing this now, because now we have the set index working in Deus, which means that you can actually place those islands and then place other things on top of that.
On top of them, lovely.
So we actually pushed our set index forward just to be ready for this pack.
Fantastic. And we've actually got another one, do we?
Oh, this one is just you can stay there.
All right, we'll stay there. Okay, all right, because it is where we're going. So
yes,
I mean, all of those assets, as someone in chat said, they are really, really beautiful.
They are.
But you also said that last show that folks can download the assets separately. So how do we do that?
Yes. So with again with thanks to Keora, who said yes, of course we can do that too. We have added those assets to the account manager as a zip file, including all the PNGs. So when you log into your account manager, you will see and you scroll down to the settings, you can see the settings, and when you click on it, you get a download button and you can download the assets included in that pack as a PNG. This is for the settings. I think most of them are free for everyone. When it comes to the specific packs, remember that there are some Kickstarter exclusive packs in there that some of you have backed. So if you don't see a download button, that might be because you haven't backed for that specific pack. If you feel like that was a mistake, then of course reach out to us at support@dungeonfog.com and let us know, and we will look at that and unlock it. But again, thanks to Keora, you can go to the account manager and download the asset packs as PNGs directly from there as well.
Keora's doing such a great job with all those props. I mean, they look really, really, really cool. Are they now all done, or is there still more to go?
You mean in general? last time I spoke to Kiora, he told me that he's completely done with all the line arts. There are two settings that are still not done. The one is Dead House Sonata, and the other one is Denoa. Those are two of the settings that were backed through support from bigger companies who were like, we would like to have our own setting pack in there. We will do them at the end because we need to chat with the companies and figure out what they exactly envision for those packs. But for the majority, the line art is done. And now Kiora is coloring them, adding those, because we're building them in a specific way that you can eventually touch each color layer and recolor them on a layer basis. So Kiora is prepping all those assets now. And again, we're talking about over 3,500 assets. So he can't do that in one throw. He has to do that bit by bit. And that's why we are now handing them out on a monthly schedule.
Monthly basis, yeah. So with the city map maker starting to be worked on, have you started to already design the city map elements?
We have an initial pack that we created with Kiora for our internal testing. And again, as you might have seen with the rework of the assets, this is not just a technical approach. This is also an artistic approach where Kiora actually needs to grow into the right style to work with the software. I think the new assets show brilliantly how much improvement can be found inside this revision cycle that took place, because Kiora created the initial assets. We created the tectonics and the landmass and the artistic style to the map making. And then Kiora was able to revisit those assets and kind of see where improvements are necessary and kind of work on his own style. So that's what happened. And the same thing is going to happen for the city map maker. We have some test assets that we can use for city map making, but there will definitely be something where he then says, okay, now I understand how this works. Now I know how big those assets need to be, how much coloring, how much layering do I need to put in there. And then we have a final asset pack.
There we go. Makes sense. Okay, so thanks to Chris Laverne for pointing out that the Restream bot is no longer sending me the Twitch questions. I mean, it's not one thing, it's another. So he's posted up the questions here, and I'll go through them. So from Garvidal, how is the city map layer coming along? Well, I suppose we've sort of answered that one now.
Yes, so we had a first concept phase. You remember from the Kickstarter page, we already had a district concept where we said, okay, you're creating a shape, and within that shape you're creating a district, and we populate that with buildings. Now, over the course of the past year, we refined those ideas. The developers came in with different ideas on how to do that. So we have that in place where we say, okay, we have a solid concept on how it should work. Now we need to see if we can make it work, and if it feels that good afterwards, or if we should go into, if we need to reiterate on that. And my feeling would be that probably by the end of the year or starting early next year, like January or latest February, we have that working prototype where we say, okay, this is how it works. Now we can start to work on the details and make it editable for us. Yeah, that's where we are.
Fantastic. And I'm sure in January we'll be able to unpack it even further in terms of thought processes.
And again, if possible, like if we have something that we can show, like material from our prototyping processes, we will happily share that, because I think that's part of the fun here, is to talk about the development process, probably the things that we achieve and that we don't achieve because we messed up something. But I think that's kind of the charm of this stream, to talk about those things. So I hope that in January I have stuff to talk about and to show.
There we go. Question from D20TV. Will the marketplace be open for everyone to add assets to it, or is it only for specific artists?
For quite some time, I would say eventually we have been thinking about the concept of opening it up for everyone. But for now, it will stay a curated one, which means that if you want to contribute assets, just let us know. And we will look at the assets that you have. We will see if they fit into the general DGNFOG style, and then we're more than happy to bring you into the marketplace. The reason why we are not opening up the marketplace for everyone is because we're a little bit afraid of the different art styles that might clash there, and we want to make sure that we kind of keep a good quality. And B, it's a technical problem, because to do that, you have to keep in mind that this is a contract. We're entering a reseller contract where you are selling assets through our marketplace, which means that we need to set up contracts. We need to do the agreement, bank transfer, payout, all those things need to be set up. And there's almost no chance to fully automate that, which means that it is quite a procedure, let's say bureaucracy, to make that work. And we're not there yet that we can kind of handle a lot of requests of marketplace sellers. So if you feel like you have stuff you want to contribute, let us know. I will happily chat with you, look at the assets, and make it work for you. But being someone who just says, I have assets, I want to sell them on the marketplace, we're still, I would say, probably a few years away from making that work.
Makes sense. Another question here. This one is from Lord God. Are there going to be official tutorial videos for Deus as there are with the battle map editor, or will those come much later after version 1 has released?
Yes, they will not come much later. They will come next year. The reason why we've been holding back on tutorial videos is that the UI is still changing quite often. We're not happy with the UI. It's getting into the right direction, but we know that there is a big UI improvement coming in Q1 next year. That was part of the roadmap. And that's the blend integration, which means that we can kind of use Microsoft Blend to draw the user interface, whereas at the moment, every field has to be programmed and positioned. So we're keeping the current user interface is being kept very puristic. With the new UI, we can then actually go in and design better workflows, better user interface elements. So we're waiting for that. But I do feel like in terms of the tool sets that are now out, it would be a good time to start thinking about a first set of tutorials. So we will be releasing some of them early next year.
Sheena Tiger Spielt says, will the tutorial videos for Deus have the same great voice as those for DGNFOG?
Will they?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, folks, that brings us to the end of today's show. We apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning of the show, but thankfully they seem to have gone away for now. So thank you all for your input, for your questions, for your comments, for making me laugh multiple times, because apparently Trucker is a more suitable alternative to being a developer than a farmer, Till. So the next time you are having doubts, go for Trucker.
Yeah, I like that
instead. Yeah.
Listening to podcasts, driving down the road.
getting
I mean,
stuck
Austria
in
is
traffic
quite,
jams.
Austria is quite mountainous, which means
Yeah.
you kind of those trucks around those narrow corners on mountains.
Yeah, maybe not.
Train conductor.
Ah,
That's it. I want to be
there
a
we go.
train conductor. I'm
There
going
we
to
go.
be. That's the next thing.
Right, folks, as I mentioned before, there is no show in December, but keep your eyes on the website and all of the social media for Dungeon Fog for any little bits of information or news that may be relevant to you. Good luck with your Advent calendar. I hope you have more success with it than I normally do, because I forget things. And I think that's it from me. Till, anything from you?
No. I'm again. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Thanks for staying with us. I hope some of you can come and visit us in London. It would be such a lovely occasion to chat with you, hang out with you. The rest of you, all I can say is, as always, thank you for being there, and I'm looking forward to see you all in 2023, end of January, when we will be doing the next Mapping It Out.
There we go. So from both of us, until next time. He didn't do it. You didn't do it. You didn't steal. You didn't jump in.
What I didn't?
Happy map making.